Damn, my bitch is looking scary as fuck. How can I come on camera like this? Seriously, I should be ashamed. Hey guys, for today's video, we have a foundation review. I'm gonna be reviewing the Morphe foundation. Oh my God. First of all, my appearance, I know, I woke up like really puffy this morning. I went to several Ultas, and they were almost sold out of every single color. I got the last one in my shade. I wasn't really gonna like buy this foundation. I wasn't interested in even showing it on my channel because I don't know, Morphe's, like being honest, Morphe's just not a brand that excites me. When Morphe comes out with something, I'm just like, okay, cool. Next. I've just never really had the best of luck with the products, so when they come out with things, I just don't get excited about it, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted me to review this, and a lot of you guys were like, yes, I want an honest review. Give us the tea, sis. Basically was what you guys said, so that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm very picky when it comes to not only makeup, but especially foundations. I would say that I really don't have a holy grail foundation because I just haven't found one that I'm obsessed with, where I'm like, you're the best foundation ever. Like, I love a lot of foundations, but they're just not my holy grail, okay? So I'm like very nitpicky about certain things. We're gonna go on the foundation. Okay, so I picked up the shade F2.5. I'm pulling it up on the Ulta app because they have the undertones on the website. Now the setup is really nice. It does have, like, you go by your undertone and your complexion, so it's super easy to pick out your shade, your undertone, like just like that. And then of course they have the testers so you can test them out. But F2.5, that's the one I have, light to medium with yellow green undertones. Now I did look at another one that was light to medium with yellow undertones, like just yellow by itself, and it was like straight yellow. So when I saw that, I was like, what the hell? Because usually the foundations I go for are yellow undertone. Now I've tried foundations that were like golden undertone and they're a little too like orangey for me. So yellow I find in almost every single brand, like probably every brand that I've ever used with a yellow undertone. I have no issues with the undertones, but I will say with theirs, it was like a corrector. So that was a little weird. I've never seen a foundation that says they have a yellow undertone and then it's like a straight like yellow. Okay, anyways, that to me, I was like, that's insane. So again, minus 2.5 olive, light to medium with yellow green undertones. This matches me very, very well. It's almost an exact match. It's maybe like a half a shade darker, but like once I go in with concealer and everything, it's fine. So now I've been using this for a couple of days. I have a pretty good idea of how I feel about it. We'll get into that at the end. Right now it's 11:22. I actually need to hurry up and get ready because I have a client and I need to leave the house soon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna apply it. We'll do it together. I'll talk to you guys about what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling as I apply it. We'll do a couple of check-ins and then I'll give you like the full rundown. We'll talk about all the good and the bad at the very end of the video. So before we even jump in, let's just do a quick little like overview of, you know, details of the foundation. So it's 1 ounce. It claims to be 24-hour long foundation, sweat-proof, transfer resistant, water resistant, free of oils, fragrance, parabens, great for all skin types. And then it is supposed to be matte. I believe it says it's a matte foundation. Yeah, it's a matte foundation. It says it right here. I don't see how this could be good for dry skin, like if you have really dry skin, if it's matte, because I will say this is very matte. Okay, I'll tell you guys that right now. I know I said I'm gonna talk about it at the end, but it is very matte. I have normal skin on the outer part, and then in my T-zone, I'm super, super oily. Like, I go matte foundation, matte primer, matte powder. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply. I have my primer on. I have my Laura Mercier Radiance Primer on the outer parts of my face, and then because this is so matte, I have a little sample here because the other one's in my kit. This is the Cover FX Blurring Primer. I got this in an online order and I never used it, so I decided to use it for this video. This is one that I use regularly. I like this actually with the Makeup Revolution foundation. If you guys saw that review. I like the packaging. I know a lot of people like a pump, but I don't mind a squeeze tube. Okay, so let's get a little bit closer so you guys can see my skin. I have redness. I do have rosacea and my cheeks are a little red right now. They're not as bad as they can be, but they're definitely a little bit red. I have a little bit of situation going on down here. And then I have a couple of spots on my face, like dark spots from old blemishes. So taking about this much. It's not a lot, just a pea-sized amount. I'm just gonna dot it all over my face like this. Just kind of rub it in. Now with this foundation, you do have to work fast. You can't take your time. I would not recommend putting it on the face and then blending it out. I would say work in a little bit of a smaller section. When you're blending this, I don't use foundation brushes, so I have not tested it with a brush, but it's a little hard to blend out with a sponge, in my opinion. I feel like it almost doesn't want to move with a sponge. By the way, this is my L'Oreal sponge. This is the one that I always use. I have also used this foundation with a beauty blender, and I found it to be both ways, that it just kind of like, it will blend out eventually, but you have to go in and like blend, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. So I don't know if this works better with a brush. I'm not gonna test it with a brush because I don't do foundation that way, and I don't like it that way if I'm being honest. That covered this whole half of my face, down here on my chin, and then like this part of my nose. I'm taking about the same amount, and I'm gonna do the other side of my face. I find that when I just kind of spread it out like this, that's how it blends out the best. But the first time I tried this foundation, I did like a dot here, and a dot here, and I just felt like I had to blend it out. Like I just had to I was constantly blending. It just doesn't, for some reason, I feel like it kind of just doesn't want to move with a sponge. I don't know why. I mean, it will, but almost like it's so thick, it just like has a hard time moving. It reminds me a lot of the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation. I almost thought it kind of reminded me of Estee Lauder Double Wear, but the Double Wear is a thinner formula, and I find that Double Wear blends a lot easier than this does. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't blend, it will blend, but it's just like you have to work super hard to blend it out. Like the first time I used it, I just kept pouncing and pouncing and pouncing and pouncing until it finally looked like it was kind of melting into my skin. I kind of feel like there's a discoloration situation right here. Like it doesn't want to blend down onto my neck. Like it kind of just looks like it's dried and it's set and it's not going to move again. So I feel like I just have to keep like going in. It's just like, it's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really like foundations that it's like you just have to work so hard to blend them out. Okay, so let me pull down my shirt a little bit. So you can see it is a little bit too dark for me, but again, once I go in and do my concealer and everything, it'll be fine. I'm going in with another little dollop. I'm gonna do a little bit less since I just have my forehead. I'm gonna go in with about that much. Just kind of like spread it out. And then blend it in. Kind of settled in my forehead lines, and it's just like, it's already set. Like it dries down so fast that it's already set, and it almost is like, it's not gonna move, you know? Like, I don't like that. It's like grabbing here in my forehead. Let me get a little bit closer. It's gonna be hard to see on camera, but I don't know if you can see in my lines right here, it's a little dry. Like it's kind of grabbing. It's not doing that on the rest of my face, but like if you can see right here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's kind of grabbing in this area right here. I have finer lines in this area. You can see it's kind of settled. And then down here in my smile lines, you can see that it's settled. It is full coverage, I'll give it that. Super full coverage. Really, really matte as well. So let's go ahead and do concealer. I'm just gonna do light sand because, you know, I kind of gotta get out of here. I need to leave in like 45 minutes. So we'll just do a little bit of Shape Tape Light Sand. Concealer goes over it just fine. It's not that it doesn't, but the first time I used this, I used like the same amount of concealer I always do. When I went in with my essence powder and my concealer and everything, I did notice it was getting a little cakey right here. You don't want to go too heavy with products on top of this because it will start to cake. We'll see if it does it today. I'm gonna go in with a very, very light layer of powder. So we'll see if it does it today, but concealer does blend over it really nicely. I will say that, like the products go over it well, but if you're a little heavy-handed with your concealer and your powder, you don't want to do that with this foundation, because keep in mind, I'm oily and I noticed it got cakey real fast. So I'm gonna take my Brighten Up Banana powder. I'm gonna like really tap off. a lot of the excess. I'm not even gonna take it like near my nose, this powder. I'm gonna keep it just under my eyes, because sometimes I'll take it down, I'll go around here like that, you know, just to kind of make sure everything looks nice and even. Oh, I just realized I don't have another earring in. I sleep on this side, so I always take this earring out. I forgot to put it back in for the video. Of course I did. Hot mess Sarah at her finest. I'm taking the Pretty Vulgar one. This is the one that I normally use because it's not super, super heavy. And again, this foundation is so matte, it's even like a little matte for me. So I'm going in with a lighter powder. Now for this, I don't think you want to go in and pack powder onto your face. Like if you like really want to press powder in and make sure it doesn't move because you're real oily, like that's normally what I would do when my skin, especially in the summertime, like when my skin is like just living its best oily life, I'll take my powder brush and I'll kind of pack it in to like really press it in and make sure it's set. I would not recommend you do that with this because it will cake so fast. You want to go in with like a light powder. Like this is super, super matte. I don't think it's, I want to say it's like as matte as the Makeup Revolution foundation. If you guys have tried that, very, very similar. Really, really matte. It's a little cakey right there. Not too bad. I've definitely used worse. But it is starting to cake around here and then right around here. Definitely used worse, like if I'm just being totally honest, but I mean, then it wouldn't be good for all skin types, you know, if it's catching. I was going out one night and I did like a really like dramatic smoky look, and when I do something like that, I really like to take my powder down to make my concealer look really highlighted, and it got cakey real quick. I'm just gonna keep it like just in my under eye area. I'm not gonna go too heavy with the baking. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup off camera because I gotta get going here in a little bit. I'll go ahead and show you guys the time. To be fair, it's 11:39 now. So we'll start the wear test here, and I'll have this on the whole day. I'll do a couple of check-ins, and then we'll go ahead and do like a full in-depth details about everything at the very end of the video. I'll tell you guys my experience with it that I've had the last few days I've worn it, all the good and all the bad, and then we'll talk about the details at the end. So I will see you guys a little bit later on. Hey guys. Okay, so it's about 3:30 right now. I'm on my phone camera because, oh, let me bring this forward. Ew, what the fuck, bitch? I'm on my phone because my camera is such a bitch. If I zoom in too close, it doesn't focus. What the hell? So that's where I'm at right now. We're filming on my phone. I just want to show you guys what the foundation looks like because I feel like you can kind of get a little bit of a better look on my phone camera anyways. But it's been about 4 hours. I'm like out of breath. I have no idea why. It's probably because I'm so out of shape. Definitely shiny right here. I could probably blot, but I'm not going to because I want to show you guys how this looks at the very end of the day with no blotting. Down here, you can kind of see it settled into my smile lines. It's not that bad though, I'm not gonna lie. I came in here with the intentions of kind of ripping this foundation to shreds, if I'm just being totally honest, but I'm not gonna lie, I actually kind of like it. I just came over to the window because I want you guys to see in like actual natural real light. So this is just straight sunlight from the window. So here, I'll get real close so you guys can see. Now it's definitely not terrible. Like I've tried foundations that I hated more, but this reminds me so much of the Revolution foundation where it just looks better as time goes on. But see here, you can see my pores. Like I feel like they're a little more emphasized. You can see it's kind of settled a little bit down here. Not terrible. Like it's a matte foundation, so that's gonna happen. That happens with my other matte foundations. This is pretty much where we're at right now. I'm starting to see it break up a little bit around here, like especially right around here. So I'm not trying to stick my finger up my nose, but especially right around here is where foundation will wear the most for me. See right there, I'm shiny right here. Yeah, definitely oily. You can't see that. I don't know why I'm showing you, but yeah. I did spray my face with the Mario spray, so that definitely helped with the cakiness. But this is, I noticed the couple times that I've worn it, it's one of those foundations that it's gonna look better as time goes on. When it mixes with your skin and your natural oils, it's gonna look a little bit better. Since it is so full coverage, it does look a little makeup-y. I personally don't care for like a mask of coverage. I like medium full, but I kind of like something where it's in the middle of medium and full. I just feel like it gets too cakey too fast. Makeup Revolution foundation, I do like that, but it's so full coverage. I actually prefer to mix it in with something that's not as full, so it kind of shears it out a little. So it shears it out a little bit. I don't know why I'm getting so tongue twisted. It doesn't look bad, but it is starting to wear away around my face. Hi, baby. I will say it's taking longer for me to get greasy than it usually does. Like with other foundations, I'll get greasy after like 2 hours. This, it's been about 4. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. I will check in a little bit later on. Okay guys, it's 6:30. I'm just about ready to take this foundation off. I'm ready to call it a night. So it's only been about 7 hours. Typically, I would leave a foundation on for longer than this. I try it for at least 8, 9, maybe 10 hours. But we're at the part of the day where I know how I feel about this foundation. Again, I've tested this a couple of days already. I've tested it several times. I wanted to try it out like a fair amount of days to give you my full opinion on it. So I already know how I feel, but just for the sake of the video, I wanted to do a wear test so you guys could kind of see how it was going. So I think my last check-in was at 3:30. It's now 6:30, so 3 hours from when I checked in, but it's been 7 hours since I had the foundation on. And in my opinion, I don't think this is a terrible foundation. I'm gonna be honest, I came on here ready to rip this foundation to shreds. You guys already know my feelings on Morphe. I know people love Morphe and they go crazy over Morphe. I'm just not one of those people, if I'm just being totally honest. I don't think this is a bad foundation, but I think it's a little too thick, and then I also don't think it's as long lasting as it claims. All right, let's back up just a little bit. On the outer part of my face, my forehead, my cheek, my chin, this part of my face looks great. It looks really nice. Nothing's moved, nothing's faded, like nothing looks bad by any means, but on the center part of my face where my oils are coming out, it's just worn away. The Cover FX Blur primer is one of my go-to primers. It's one of my favorites of all time that works under everything, and I mean everything that I've used. Now on this, I find that my pores are just emphasized. They're emphasized. It does settle into fine lines. Matte foundations are gonna do that. I use a lot of matte foundations, and I would be lying if I said none of them settled into my fine lines. Foundation in general is probably just gonna settle into your fine lines. So it definitely does settle. It's not terrible, I will say, but it does settle. This, however, for me over here, emphasized my pores way, way, way too much. Even with one of my favorite primers that I trust, it still emphasized my pores. Now over here on my nose, I can see, and I'll insert up close footage as well, but I can see like just it's worn away in this area. On the tip of my nose, it's worn away. It's worn away over here in this area. It's kind of worn away up here where I'm really oily. And then other than that, I would say it looks really good. It's just that it's not gonna last on my oily skin, and I have other foundations that just last longer. So again, I don't think it's a bad foundation. Maybe if you have not so oily skin, like if you have a little bit of oils or if you have normal skin, I think you'll love this foundation and I think it will be great. For me, where I need something to stay in my T-zone, this isn't gonna stay in the T-zone, especially if we're only at 7 hours. So think about people who maybe work long shifts, 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour days. It's just not gonna last. Now, I haven't blotted at all. I don't really find that I have to blot a ton with my other foundations. Of course, sometimes I will just to get the excess oil off, but I don't want to have to deal with blotting if I don't have to deal with it, and I just find that I have other foundations that I don't have to deal with. Now, to talk about just like a little bit of formula and coverage and stuff like that, this is where I'm going to kind of compare it to other brands. This is where it comes in when it comes into kind of the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation. It's super thick to the point that I feel like you have to work almost too hard to blend it out, even with a sponge. Now with the Kat Von D, I actually owned that for quite a long time. I tried it several times. I heard they reformulated it. I repurchased it and tried it again, and I still didn't like it. I don't like a foundation that is so thick and it feels like too makeup-y, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, you can kind of feel this foundation sitting on your skin. That's why it reminds me of the Kat Von D in that sense, where you kind of tap it on and you just have to work so hard to blend it out. I don't want to do that. I have other full coverage, better lasting foundations that don't make me oily, they don't break up on my face, and don't settle into my pores as heavily, that blend out easier. I feel like I just have to work too hard to blend it out. If you don't mind that, then great. By all means, try the foundation, but for me, I just don't want that. If you like full coverage, you don't want to see anything on your face. If you're acne prone, if you have blemishes that you want to cover up, anything like that where you want to cover, this is going to be the foundation for you. Me personally, I don't like a full coverage full. When I say full, I mean like full. It's gonna cover everything. For me and my skin personally, it's just a little too heavy. I didn't have to go in and layer this, but if you do go in and layer it, I found that when I did that, now I didn't do it on camera today, I did do it the first time that I tried it, I found that when I tried to go in and layer, it just got a little too thick, a little too heavy, and a little too cakey. So this is not a foundation that you wanna go in and build. It's gonna be full coverage right off the bat. I was kind of comparing this in my head to Makeup Revolution because the coverage, like the matte-ness of it and the coverage kind of reminds me a little bit of that, where it's so full coverage and it's so matte and it can cake really quickly that you don't want to go in with a mattifying primer and you don't want to go in too heavy with the powder, because this foundation is so full coverage and it's so thick that if you go in too heavy with other things, you're just going to turn into a straight cake face. I didn't try it with a mattifying primer, but I found that even without a mattifying primer, it was just so quick to cake. If you are super oily, I don't think you're gonna wanna try it with that, because it almost started to cake in this area, and you guys saw in the beginning of this that I didn't put a lot of product in this area, but it still started to get a little bit cakey because of I think it's because of the thickness of the foundation, because the coverage is good, but it's just so thick and it doesn't wanna move that well with a sponge. Maybe it would work better with a brush, but I don't use a brush. So for me, I'd just rather use a foundation where I could use my sponge with it. So it is very quick to cake. You have to go in with light layers, but also keep in mind that it just, like, for some reason with the sponge, it just doesn't want to blend out that well. I don't know why it is. I did find that it looked super heavy in the beginning of the application. After I set it, even when I went in with my rose water spray, it still looked a little bit heavy, but as it kind of melts into your skin and as your oils mix in with it, it looks a little bit better. I felt the same way about the Makeup Revolution foundation, in that sense that the more it wears on your skin, the better it's gonna look. However, I found though with the Makeup Revolution foundation, it didn't settle as badly and I felt like it didn't emphasize my pores as much, and that one doesn't really wear away on your face the way that this one does. That one I had to do no touch-ups. When I wear that foundation, I have to do no touch-ups whatsoever. Even when I mix in a more dewy foundation, I still don't have to touch it up because it's so matte, but it doesn't wear away in like an ugly way. It's almost like it just melts into your skin, whereas this one, I feel like it just kind of sits more on top of your skin. It really is kind of hard to like know if you're gonna like it or not until you test it with your skin and see how you like it. So that's why I kind of wanted to compare it to just a couple of different foundations where I kind of pick different things about those that this really reminds me of. So all in all, I really don't think it's a terrible foundation. I like my L'Oreal Pro Matte more, if that says anything. Probably normal to maybe just a little bit of oily skin. I think you would really like this if you go in with light layers. It'd probably wear on your skin better, but in my opinion, it's just a little too heavy on like a day-to-day basis. It just didn't last for me in my T-zone. And after 7 hours already of having this on, now going on 8, I'm kind of like, if I have other ones that last longer, I'm gonna reach for those more. So this is gonna be a pass for me. I just see myself reaching for other foundations more. And also the price, $18 is just too high for me in my opinion. For like a drugstore, I don't wanna say drugstore, it is kind of drugstore now since it's on the drugstore side of Ulta, but for an affordable brand, Morphe sells 30 pan eyeshadow palettes for 25 bucks, somewhere around there. Like, why would you price your foundation at $18 when you know good and well people go through foundation faster than they go through an entire eyeshadow palette? I heard people saying that this was such an amazing price and oh my god, the price is great. Yeah, the price is great compared to like a $50 foundation, but you know what's even better? A $10 foundation. I know like the color selection is really great. They came out with what, 60 shades, something like that. That's awesome. I think that's really great that they did something like that, but they need to come down on the price a little bit. I would have liked to see it at maybe like $12, like the Makeup Revolution foundation. $12 would be great if we could keep it around that price or less. 18 is too high. So yeah, that's my opinion on this foundation. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what else you guys want to see. Let me know if you've tried it or if you're interested in trying it, or just whatever you guys want to see next. Just go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe before you leave, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!